be working with other board members, and of course, you'll be able to tap into some of those resources that you're familiar with to probably help the work that has to be done in the development commission. Thank you for your information. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Yes, over the holiday.
Good evening, Gary Hogan, Ward 28. I was a fan of Next Door Pizza. And are you planning on reopening somewhere, or are you going to be?
No, I'm done with the restaurant days. I feel like I gave it a good shot, but I really don't have the unique combination of skills to really make a place financially and food style successful. So I'm just getting back into that. So.
It will be missed. So with the experiences of business, being a small businessman, both high and lows of being in that business, I hope you can share those on the development commission as well as other retailers in our area.
I'd love
to
to
learn to stay afloat. Thank you.
I'm not sure I have any magic bullet for that.
Wisdom.
So,
Yes, wisdom.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Thank you. Yes, yes, Alderman.
I'm Alder Hubbard from Ward 3. I don't have so much of a question, but I would like to say that I appreciate your honesty, and even of someone that has a lot of experience, you're still saying to the board that I'm still teachable. And we respect that. You're not saying you know everything, you're willing to learn, and we respect that. So we respect your honesty.
well, that's in part what I'm looking forward to, is to learning more of all of this. It seems to be a whole new area that would be fun to do.
We like that.
Any further questions? Seeing none, thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
And our
Thank you.
staff person will let you know the decision, or you can wait, whichever you prefer.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
But don't let the pizzas go to waste.
I won't.
Oh,
No,
don't
don't worry.
worry.
We won't even worry about that. We got that.
LN 202501112 is Larry Stewart. He's not required to attend, so we can pass him over. LN 202501113 is Joy Gary. Is she here? Yes, come on. Your number 3. Good evening. State your name and address for the record.
It's Joy Gary, 69 Colony Road, New Haven, Connecticut.
Okay, thank you. And the reason why you have been asked to attend is the attendance. So, and I apologize, I'm wearing a mask. It isn't because I have COVID, it is because certain scents send me over the top, so I have to always wear a mask. So what I'm asking is there a reason why your attendance was so low compared to others on the committee?
From what I understand, it was 11 out of 18.
Yeah, it's 61%. So anything under 70 is considered a flag. So normally people say it's either because they're sick or had family problems or they were away. So what is your, what do you believe is your reason? We just want to make sure that this person, City Plan Commission is an important commission.
Absolutely.
And everyone should be able to attend. And so when people don't show up, sometimes they can't reevaluate how City Plan Commission decides on issues. So we ask our colleagues to make sure that attendance is kept so that we know the next time the person is being reappointed, what their story is. So tell us your story.
What I can say is my attendance level was pretty high. I participated in special meetings. I was very consistent in attending, so attendance wouldn't be an issue.
Okay. But you're not still explaining the 61% of attendance last year. I mean, Misty, what is the date again?
Last 12 months.
Last 12 months.
So what I understand is I attended 11 out of 18, and from the email from the commission, Alex from the commission, he indicated that they'd be happy to have me back.
Okay. Any questions from colleagues? Any questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go on to, that's all for you today. Thank you. Thank you for explaining.
Is there any other questions or?
No,
Okay, thank you.
Andrew Orifice, is he here? Andrew Orifice is not required to attend, so we will pass over him. Item LM 2025-0216, appointing, Order of the New Haven Board of Alders appointed Adam Marchand to the Commission on Pilot and Revenue Lobby. But before you come up, I want to explain to my colleagues what that commission is, because it's a fairly new one. The Commission on Pilot Programs and other state legislation is hereby established. This commission shall encourage the Connecticut General Assembly to provide significant additional funding of the pilot program, mobilize various statewide organizations affiliated with its members, and enact other legislation that will benefit the city. The members of such commission shall constitute while members of the Connecticut State Senate and Connecticut State's House of Representatives residing in New Haven. The one representative from each of the following: Yale University Hospital, St. Raphael's, Yale New Haven Hospital, Greater New Haven Chamber of Commerce, the United Way of Greater New Haven, Albertus Magnus College, a representative from Greater New Haven Central Legal Council, AFL-CIO, and Community Labor Alliance representative of 4 public citizen members appointed by the mayor and 2 members of the New Haven Board of Alders selected by the president of said board. The chairs shall be elected by majority of the commission present and voting. So I just want to give you a purview of what that is. It's a commission that we're establishing, or has been on the books. I can't remember the conversation, but.
Sure.
Yes.
Can I read that? Sorry.
You sure? I didn't, make copies of it.
Oh, wait, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure
Let's
everyone
give it
understood.
let's
Okay,
give it
thank
a
you.
page.
Alderman Marchand, will you come on up?
Good evening, colleagues. My name is Adam Marchand. I'm the alder of the 25th Ward. I reside at 101 West Elm Street in New Haven.
Thank you. So you're here today to sit on the Commission on Pilot Revenue Lobby.
Yes.
So in that capacity, what do you believe is the best course of action to take for this new campaign that we're doing here?
That's an excellent question. I think the facts that gave rise to the formation of this commission back in 1985, as I understand it, have only become more pronounced. And what do I mean? I mean to say that a huge percentage of our real estate grand list is exempt, more than half of it. I mean, our taxable grand list is just over $8 billion. The exempt grand list is bigger than that. And that has huge implications for us every year when we're raising money for our city's budget. Local property taxes is one of the big sources of revenue for the city to be able to operate its general fund budget. And so the fact that we play host to large nonprofit institutions has lots of benefits to the city of New Haven, but it creates a big dent in our grant list and has a major impact on our tax revenue every year. And that was the case in 1985, but it's more the case now. In fact, in the time that I've been on the Board of Alders, just 13 and a half years, we've seen that that exempt grant list get bigger and bigger. Some of it is from the physical growth of these nonprofit institutions, but more of it is through the intensity of development on those campuses. And that concentration of real estate value has huge implications for the city in terms of our budget, as I just mentioned, but also in terms of the neighborhoods that immediately surround this kind of center of gravity of tax value. And all of us in New Haven are paid different, our taxes would be much different if we had a different distribution of exemption across the city. So this is a really important issue. Now, the calling, that's not the right, the charge given to this commission by the ordinance pointed the finger at the state and said, we need more money from the state. And a lot of people are saying the same thing now during this long session. You know, members of the city administration, the Board of Ed, residents have gone to Hartford and talked about the fiscal guardrails, trying to get more money for in the ECS, the educational cost sharing formula, all sorts of proposals about how the state should make more investments in New Haven, its public schools, and many other things. And that's right and proper for people to do that, and I've been part of that in the past. But we also have had a growing call for our major nonprofit partners, namely Yale and New Haven, to be bigger partners of the city of New Haven. And the last time there was a concerted effort to talk about this, and conversations happening across the entire city, yard signs being put up, talking with folks at the polls about this. That created an environment where the mayor and his team negotiated an updated voluntary payment arrangement with the Young University. An additional $56 million over 6 years. That will come to an end in 2027, and then the prior arrangement will be what we have unless a new arrangement is made. So I believe that the kind of the elephant in the room is what kind of conversation should we be having with Yale and Young Haven? So it's my intention to broaden the scope of this committee. And whether or not we need to amend the ordinance is a question that we don't know yet. That's something this body, of course, could do through our usual process. But the ordinance, as it was written in 1985, is let's pull together stakeholders from across the city and let's go to the state and say, we need more money. Later on, they talked about the colleges and universities pilot because that was kind of a political solution to that. But the colleges and universities pilot is the state giving money to the city for taxes we're not getting from our nonprofit partners, right? And the state also owns property in our city, and there's tax exemptions because of that as well. But the colleges and universities pilot is other tax dollars coming into the city, whereas the voluntary payment from Yale is Yale's dollars coming into the city's coffers. So those are different things. So it would be my intention as we move forward with this to broaden the scope. So it's not just about more state tax dollars coming into the city, but it's also dollars from other sources, including our major nonprofit partners. I think that would be appropriate. But the question of whether or not we need to have a concerted effort to look for more revenue sources for the city of New Haven and to be able to support our budget and the operating departments, I think that's definitely true. So when President Taisha Walker-Myers asked me if I'd be willing to be appointed to this, I eagerly accepted. I did talk with our Director of Legislative Services to find out when was the last time this body met, and he could not remember. It's going to be a research project to see when last this body met and what did it produce. I assume recommendations, maybe reports. It doesn't have authority to make any other entity do anything, but it can be a part of offering recommendations and an analysis. So I'm eager to get started with this team. I think there will have to be other people, representatives from other groups, as you mentioned, appointed to it. So it may take some time for us to get a first meeting together. But I think the question is a very important question for us today, as it was back in 1985 when this ordinance was passed.
Okay. Thank you, Alderman Michelle. I would like to acknowledge that Alder Hamilton, my co-chair, is here. And I would also like to acknowledge that Alder Furlow is also here in attendance this evening. Thank you. And any questions from the committee? Yes, Alder Colton.
Alder Garrett Hogan, Ward 28. If I heard you correctly, once this group is formed, this committee is formed, you're going to take an analytical look at what resources the state has, lobby those resources to be applied to some form of application to the city to be determined eventually by the Board of Aldermen as that comes in, or the finance team of the city of New Haven, something along that lines. So you're kind of lobbying, you're doing some research and you're lobbying the state for said funds.
Well, that's the charge as it's currently given in the ordinance. And I think it's, those efforts are happening now, even without this body. I think it's going to be important for this body to broaden its search of potential sources of revenue beyond the state. I don't think we take the state off the hook. We need to look at the question of, are we getting as much investment from the state as we should? And that's a question, I believe that the members of the New Haven delegation to the Connecticut General Assembly are named in the ordinance as people to be involved in that. So they'll bring a lot of opinions and expertise on that topic. But I think we need to be looking at other areas to see where we can obtain revenue. The nonprofit partner being one of it. Another point I'll make is that in addition to just money from the state, in the form of ECS or alliance grants or aid for distressed municipalities or aid to cities, there's lots of different buckets that aid comes in. Grant money, capital dollars, LoCIP, all sorts of streams of revenue that come to us for either general fund operating budget or for capital budget. There's also a question of authority. Right now, we are limited in the different ways we can obtain revenue from our residents. And that's appropriate. We wouldn't want to have unlimited ability to do that. Real estate property taxes, automobile taxes. Obviously, we have fees that we charge for certain uses of city facilities or services that we render. But we don't, for example, have a local use tax. We don't, for example, have a local hotel tax. And there's different kinds of taxes that other cities are empowered to charge different visitors or entities that come into the city. We can't do that because the state specifically has not given us the authority to do that. So that too will be a question I think that will be up for discussion is, are there other ways that the city could be authorized and empowered to generate revenue that the General Assembly would have to authorize? It would take legislation that we might want to ask them to do. I don't have an answer for that off the top of my head if it's a good idea or not, but we should definitely kick the tires on that and have a recommendation and have discussions with our New Haven delegation on that. So I think, this commission is not going to get up and running before the end of this particular state legislative session, right? It's already almost May, right? This is going to be looking at future sessions on the issue of direct support, on the issue of authority we need to generate our own revenue, and then looking beyond the state to other funders, to other partners who we would want to step up.
Thank you. More questions, Madam Chair?
Thank you. Any further questions?
I have a comment, but I'll save it for deliberations.
Do you want to ask me about my
Thank you, Madam
attendance?
Chair.
No.
This meeting hasn't met yet, so but I am good at attending meetings.
I know. And I didn't ask you about attendance because there hasn't been a meeting, so. Just a question that I was asked. Well, not that I'm putting a date on it, but my question to you is, when do you foresee some type of committee meeting, like towards the fall?
Yeah.
Before the new session starts in January?
Definitely before the new session starts in January. I think if we could get something started over the summer or beginning of the fall, that would be really good. We have some research to do to understand better the parameters of this group and what it produced over the years. We have a bunch of outreach to do with the other stakeholders who are named in the ordinance as supposing to be invited to serve on this commission. So there's a lot of legwork that needs doing before we can convene a meeting and start our work. So off the top of my head, I would say if we could get started in the fall, that would be great.
Okay, Madam Chair, I'm sorry.
Yes, Alderman Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Understanding that you are the chair of the finance committee of the Board of Alders,
Yes.
there is no conflict in between both this commission and your position as chair of the Board of Alders Finance Committee?
I don't see any, because in both arenas, I really want the same thing, which is the best possible support for the city so that we can operate, provide services to our residents, keep the mill rate at a reasonable level. And so whichever hat I'm wearing, a member of this commission or chairing the finance committee, I'm working for the same thing. So I don't see them as being at odds. Of course, I control the schedule of the finance committee, so, and we know when those meetings are, the regular meetings are. So I'll be sure not to schedule the commission meetings so that it conflicts with the finance. So in terms of scheduling conflicts, I think those can be easily avoided. But I don't think that the purpose of one body is at odds with the purpose of the other. I think they're both looking at
Yes,
the same set of goals.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you.
thank you. Any further questions? Thank you, Alderman, for your eloquent description of what you foresee for this committee. And I think it's a wonderful program, and I'm hoping that it does bear fruit for us as a city to gain such sustainable dollars that we desperately need. When I saw pilot revenue lobbying, I thought it was for the ECS grants until I read into it a little more. And then I realized it wasn't just for education, it's for other things as well. And I do know that the state gets most of our fees and stuff that would have come to the cities, but because the state doesn't allow us to receive those funds, we don't get them directly to the city. So I think those are avenues that can be looked at in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you. And our next person is Justin McCarthy, Chief Administrative Officer.
That's okay.
Good evening, Alders.
Good evening.
Justin McCarthy, 569 Elm Street.
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. And you are being appointed as Chief Administrative Officer. You've obviously been in the role for a little bit. And your name came up now too, because there is a time limit as to when you can be appointed, when your term ends if you're not appointed. So we want to make sure that we get it appointed in the proper time frame. So tell us why you want to serve as the Chief Administrative Officer for the city. It's more involved than just the fire department. It's more involved with all aspects of the police, fire, a lot of different departments that you will oversee. So tell us what your vision is for all of this.
Sure. So as I'm sure some of you know, I started with the city in 2008 as a firefighter. I worked on Gulf Street, kind of earned my keep there and moved over to Squad 1 on Whitney Avenue for a number of years. I worked in Fairhaven. I worked in the Hill. I was promoted up to the ranks. During the time, I also operated, I went to law school during that time. I served on the Union Executive Board during that time. And then I was assigned to the training division in 2018 and worked there on temporary detail and went back to the files for a short time, went back down to training and COVID happened. Just to give you a quick history, while we were on detail, training had to stop, but we also couldn't go back to our assignments. So I ended up being placed on a citywide COVID supply purchasing, procurement. I basically did a lot of things for the city in regards to COVID, and a lot of retirements happened and opened up a spot as the Assistant Chief of Administration. Chief Alston saw fit and the Board of Fire Commissioner saw fit to promote me to that rank, and I served in that rank until 2022 when I retired for a short time, and now I'm trying to come back. During my time in all those levels, I had a great appreciation for everybody in the city, all the workers in the city, all the departments in the city, and all the things that are done for the citizens and visitors. And I think that showed throughout the course of my career. Once I made assistant chief, it allowed me to work very closely with a lot of our other city departments. So I work very closely with Giovanni in engineering. I work with the Parks Department, DPW to coordinate. Especially, I work very hard with 911 and with the police department. And finally, I worked with HR because we were doing a lot of hiring and promoting during that time. Throughout all of that, I grew to appreciate how hard everyone in those departments works. And in my time back since January, that's only risen, right? I've only grown to appreciate how hard everybody works and how much I take great pride in what we do as a city for the people who are here. And I think in this role as Chief Administrative Officer, I serve in a couple of different facets, but number one is to support those who are doing the work. And so I see this opportunity to work with those people again, make some new friends because some new people have taken over different roles, but to work with all these departments to grow the services and continue the services that we provide to the city.
So as Chief Executive Officer, can you tell the committee, someone new and may not know what your departments you oversee, so they know?
Sure, yeah, so as Chief Administrative Officer, I would oversee police, fire, 911, emergency management, and then DPW, parks, HR, and engineering. So it's a bit of a potpourri of different departments, and it's a lot of people who do a lot of the boots on the ground work out, making our city safer, making our city more beautiful, building our buildings, and hiring and managing our staff.
Wonderful. I know, I remember you as a fire, in the fire department. And I remember a lot of things that were going on at the time during COVID and, you know, a lot of things has changed throughout the communities, even in employment and businesses as well. And so, I just want to ask my colleagues if they have any questions that they would like to ask at this time. Yes, Alder Hamilton.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Mr. McCarthy. Lot of departments, key departments that support our city and our residents, will be overseen, have been overseen and will oversee. These departments do a lot of hard work, right? I've seen quite a few people in that title. They come into our city, they get the title, nice pay and benefit package, and they stay here 6 months and they leave. Okay? That has been the track record. I am concerned about that. Do you plan on staying to support our departments or you know, because leadership, it's important. The people that you support, these are our key staff that support our city, right? And they work very hard. They need a leader that's gonna stand with them toe to toe and work with them, you know? And the people that have come before you in this role have come saying all the nice things. Like I said, have gotten the salary and the benefits and have exited 6 months or a year down the road. You know, that's one of my biggest concerns.
Yeah, so I could speak to that. I worked for several of those people. With me, I think one of the things that I want to paint for all of you is that I had a break in service. So I retired from the fire department in 2023 and went to the town of Greenwich. And there's no secret about that, all on my resume. I realized that my heart was here. I made a conscious decision with my wife. We have a 6-month-old at home. I just turned 40. I made a conscious decision to put effort into trying to get back to the city. It was important to me. I felt at home here. I appreciate the work that's done here. Full disclosure, I put my pension on hold for this position. So you know, if I was in it for the money, I very easily could have stayed retired and moved on to another career, but I made a very conscious decision to attempt, to get back to the city that I felt gave so much to me throughout my career as a firefighter.
May I continue?
Yes.
Hopefully you're a man of your word, and, okay. What do you think, especially the police and fire department, what do you think they need to make them stronger? How do you plan on just bolstering them up to be, because they are a fantastic team, the police just got their raises, which was way long overdue, right? Now it's about building, I mean, how are you gonna strengthen these departments to see them build, grow, get stronger? Our workforce and, I mean, morale, that sort of thing, because stuff has been happening.
Yeah.
And a lot of these departments have been on the,
Yeah, so I survived the over 100 vacancies at fire. About 20, it went from probably 2012 to 2014, where we were working, basically I was working a 6-on, 1-off schedule. I mean, we were working nonstop because of vacancies. And at PD, they just, so let me parse that out, right? So number one, we have the police. The police contract has been immensely helpful in retaining officers, and it's been immensely popular in recruiting officers. I see Chief Jacobson is here. He and I meet at minimum twice a week, and one of the conversations we're having is we have almost 85 applicants, which we haven't seen in a number of years for PD. We're also seeing a large increase of laterals, so members coming from other police departments that are certified coming into New Haven, which is great because they hit the ground running and they're trained up, and we just have to kind of bring them up on the New Haven piece. We've also seen interest from people who have left New Haven to go to other municipalities seeking to come back now that the contract allows for different flexibility with that. So I think that's huge, is to get new faces, new people in. And I think the same is true for fire. Fire is coming up on a contract. They're starting to negotiate. I think that it's important that we continue to grow fire. They don't have the same recruitment issues. They're still getting people in the door, but we have a class right now of 37 in recruit school. I think that's beneficial. It's new faces. We have another 27, hopefully starting midsummer. So as somebody who came in as a new face, I know the value of being a new face. But it's also growing from within. It's showing people that they can rise up through the department and they can take leadership roles. I hit leadership roles at a very early time in my career, and in some ways I'm grateful. In some ways I miss the firehouse. I mean, the truth be told, right? But there's a lot of very capable people that need to see that growth can happen from within, and that we have a lot of really qualified candidates to take on leadership roles within, and I think that helps boost them around. The other thing that we're working through is I also oversee the rolling stock with the budget office, ensuring that we have solid, good working equipment. I think is really important. We have a couple of fire trucks that are ordered that are due in next year, but we're up against the challenge of how long it takes to get these things. So same thing's true at DPW. DPW, it's taking a year to get a dump truck. It's taking several years to get a fire truck. And we're trying to be as proactive as we possibly can in those areas to ensure that we're being positive for our employees, because they need to come in, they need to know that we appreciate them, that their equipment's gonna work, the firehouses are gonna be properly maintained, and that goes true across the board. To speak to one thing that I am doing physically right now is I have already scheduled a joint training between emergency management, police, fire, and we're going to bring the leadership of those departments together, because a lot of them have some new faces that haven't worked well together. Not they haven't worked well together, they haven't worked together at all. And so we're, at the end of May, we're gonna do a full day training with them. And we're going to do some interactive things to just bridge the conversation between the new leaders at each department. So I hope that answered your question.
Okay. One more. Public Works.
Before you start that, I would like to acknowledge Alderman Denton is also joined us. Thank you. And no, you'll be there. I'll defer. Thank you. Continue.
Thank you, Chair. The Public Works Department, another key department in the city, um, that supports residents. Um, I think it's important for the Public Works Department to do that. Let's see, I can't put any plainer than that.
Do you have specific areas that you need them, or is it just overall?
Well, I look at streets, sweeping, those sweep trucks come around my neighborhood. You don't use dirty brushes and swivel around and a little bit of water and make the streets look worse than before.
Hmm.
Quality of product or quality of work, it's important, right? What I have seen, a lot of stuff gets missed, right? Detail to do work in our city, that's not happening. I think there needs to be a lot more attention to detail in the work that is done on our city streets, right? I don't think a lot of folks take pride in this, what they do anymore, right? People just get through the workday, you know? But it's important that we do our jobs to the best of our ability. But that all comes with leadership and how we support workers, right? So bear that in mind.
No, I absolutely will, and I appreciate that sentiment, right? One of the things that I've already talked to Mike Siciliano and his team about is equipment, right? And making sure that the equipment is up to par. We have a new capital budget coming forward in July, and sweepers are on the list of things that they need attention. I was up at this, so I made a point to travel around as much as I possibly can, my department so far, and I continue to do that. I was up at Refuse the other day, they had a sweeper down, they were trying to fix it on the fly. We're trying to get them an additional sweeper, but again, we're talking about a $300,000 piece of equipment, and we're weighing out our needs versus our wants, and that's risen to the level, right? We're working through a lot of that, and I will continue to do that, and I implore all of you, if there are things that are missed, please don't hesitate to share them with us so that I can know about them while I'm out there, and I'm happy to hear from you. I try to, I'll tell you exactly what I do, and my deputy, Becky Bombero, will tell you, I find myself driving around to do weird things and trying to see what needs to be addressed. And just the other day, I was on the phone with Mike about a pothole that I hit, right? And I personally hit it and said, hey, when the guys are out, they need to hit this pothole. And 2 days later, I drove by and there was patch on it, right? So I think, I hope my voice carries weight, but I also try not to, I try to appreciate when they do a good job as well, and make sure that everybody knows that that's appreciated, and that we're not just looking for what's wrong, but we're appreciating what's right, and we balance that together.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Alder Hubbard.
again, I don't have a question. I finally have a face to the voice that's over the phone. But I will say to my colleagues that for the first time, he did reach out to me. We had several conversations, and everything that I asked of him was done expeditiously. So I just wanted to say I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other, yes, Alder Hogan, and then Alder Rodriguez, thank you.
I just have 4 quick questions for you. Where do you live?
I live at 569 Orange Street.
Okay, I'm just looking at the resume.
Yeah, so,
Address.
yeah, this is from when I submitted.
Aside from the joint training that you created, you've been in a position for several months now, right?
Yes, sir.
What other programs or efficiencies have you implemented?
So just today, we had a meeting between Fire Department and PSAP, the 911 Center, to try to streamline some items there. We're working through some technology upgrades. I've worked with PD and PSAP and
Can
FT.
you tell me what PSAP is?
Sorry, the 911 center, sorry. Through some CAD updates and, which is the computer system at 911, right? And the police records management system, which is a very large project. It actually started before I left. They were picking a vendor, and now we're in the throes of that. I've been working with the Parks Department on various items. We have Max Webster, who's he's been here doing a great job as the director. We're trying to get him a deputy director, so we're working through some of that. We're trying to implement a citywide employee online learning platform with the HR department to try to ease up the strain of issuing new orders or policy, new training, so that citywide we can move to a virtual platform when it's applicable, and it'll free up some time for HR. Trying to think of what else. I actually have a meeting on Thursday night with our new golf course manager and the Knickerbocker Club.
There.
So I will be there Thursday night, bridging conversations with those organizations. I can keep going if you like.
That's fine. The point of my question was, you're stepping into a role, what have you started working on?
Yeah.
It sounds like you're working on quite a few. One of my concerns, number one thing that constituents always tell me about is they will call a city department, one of which you will oversee, and they don't get any responsiveness. And that see-click fix works better than calling public works, so to speak. What kind of training do you have, not for leadership, because we all know we can call the director or a deputy director and get responsive, but if I call 203-946-7700 and I get the voicemail and leave a message that says, Alder Gary Hogan calling to find out about this situation and never get a phone call, what can you do to help the lower staff or lower management team to be responsive to the citizens?
Yeah, I think it's important for everybody to be responsive to anybody's concern. So see-click fix is managed essentially out of our office. We have Killian who works on see-click fix to help make sure things are efficient and to make sure that anything that's sitting for too long, if it hasn't been, it's addressed, even if it's addressed through a comment, so that people know that. I think it is important, and I would like to know if that is something that's happening that I don't know about. Please, by all means, let me know. But it's ensuring that the members of the department that are answering that phone call understand that they're working for the people, right? And that these are your customers. And these are people who have a value question or a concern or a request that needs to be answered. Some of our departments unfortunately have they have staff that's stretched thin. I don't think that's an excuse, but it's something that I think I need to look at to see if we are appropriately tasking employees at various levels with too much work, not enough work, make sure there's equal division of labor in that respect. So,
Just one more question. Having been in this role, having got your feet wet, got your toe in the pond of conflict and congratulations and all those little things that happen, where do you need support and strength?
truthfully, same place that I think Aldermanic was talking about, which is budgetarily, right? I think all of our departments are stretched very thin in the sense of trying to work within a budget, right? We have expanded needs at the fire department, but the costs are rising exponentially, right? And I use fire trucks because it's a familiar area and it's something that everybody sees and knows the value of. So when I left the city in 2023, it was literally 2 years ago this month, a fire truck was a fire engine, right? The smaller of the trucks that we have 10 of around the city in the firehouses was under $1 million. Now you're looking at $1.2 million and 4 years to get it, right? A ladder truck's almost $2 million. A street sweeper when I left was less than 200,000. Now it's more than 300,000. So while they budgeted appropriately, the cost is exceeding what people are budgeting for because it takes a few months. These folks are budgeting things in November to put in present for all you folks. And by the time July comes around, the things, no matter what it is going up. And we're seeing with tariffs and everything else that this could get worse. So being able to operate in the most efficient way possible within the budget guardrails that we put forth, I think is the biggest challenge. And I don't think that there's much that could be done to help that right now, but understanding and appreciating that fact is just something that I know goes a long way.
Thank you for your honest answers, and thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Alderman Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have several questions. I'm going to start a little bit a bit easy. Can you just tell me in terms of awards? I see here in your resume, you shared that you were nominated for the Francis Sweeney Administrative Award. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So the Francis Sweeney Award is maybe Fire Department Medal too for administrative tasks. I was nominated alongside Troy Frost for the two of us worked together to plan and execute the funeral of active member George Brown, who passed away unexpectedly. We worked to develop a full funeral plan for the department. We, at the time, I was familiar with some of the funeral practices. George Brown was a proud member of the Firebird Society. Troy Frost represented the Firebird Society, so we came together to ensure that we had a funeral plan that was respectful of all of our members. So because of obviously different backgrounds, different religious beliefs, we wanted to make sure that we had a funeral plan that respected everyone and could apply no matter what. And that funeral plan, while is not, I don't want to say it's something that we are happy to use, we're proud to say that it exists, and we can honor any member of the department who passes away. It's used we've used aspects of it for retirees and for active members.
Thank you. Under additional information, you shared that you were a guest speaker on the topic of leadership for national podcasts. Can you talk just a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, so Fire Engineering is a national publication for the fire service. I worked on a podcast that a podcasting group when podcasting was relatively new. It was back in 2015. I did a podcast for them on a variety of fire department topics, including leadership. And then subsequently, I was asked to speak on a couple of other podcasts related to the topic of leadership, specifically in the fire department.
Thank you. And I see that you have the history with us in New Haven. You started as a firefighter and you've moved all the way up and you were acting chief for us. And in the capacity of acting chief and looking at all the transferable skills that could be used in the job of the CAO, Chief Administrative Officer, you share that you were serving as acting chief in the absence of the chief, that you were also overseeing 5 divisions within the department covered by 4 bargaining units. But then you work in this capacity as assistant chief in New Haven, but then you move and you obtain a job in Greenwich as assistant chief. And in that position, which you have until, it says until current, and I understand that this is not your updated CV. You indicate that you served as acting chief in the absence of the chief. And you also include here under your bullets that you provide leadership and supervision in hiring. And those are all important skills, but my question is, why did you leave a position that was probably more complementary as assistant chief of New Haven versus moving to assistant chief in Greenwich? And I ask you that question because you obtained your Juris Doctorate degree in law from Quinnipiac in 2020. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so what are your goals in the next 5 years what is your clear intent of obtaining and being CAO of New Haven?
Mhm.
And your future goals in the upcoming years?
So I can speak to all of that. So
Thank you.
in regards to my taking the position in Greenwich, I think it's important for everybody to understand what happened in my 2 years as assistant chief. So when I made assistant chief, it was, I want to say the end of January, beginning of February of 2021. And we had the recent retirement of Mark Vendetta, who was our assistant chief of operations. So I was the only assistant chief at the time, assisting Chief Alston in basically both roles. In May of 2021, one of our firefighters committed suicide, took his own life. And within the same week, we had the death of Ricardo Torres at 190 Valley Street and the significant injury of Lieutenant Samant Rankins. So all of those incidents happened within a week. We had no additional support. It was Chief Alston and I, and Chief Alston and I alone, that had to ensure that we served in the leadership capacity of the department, make sure that, the calls were still getting answered, but that we respected the members to the level that they deserved. It was extremely taxing, and it took to get personal, it took an extreme toll on my marriage at the time, resulting in my divorce, right? Subsequently after that, Thomas Miles was an active member who was killed in a motor vehicle accident on I-91. And going through that, my personal life, I needed to separate myself. It was a lot. I went through personal choices and had to manage all of them, but I reached a point of exhaustion and felt that the time had come to move on. I went to Greenwich. I appreciate everything Greenwich offered to me at the time, okay? It allowed me to decompress, but it did not provide me the same satisfaction as working in the city of New Haven. So while I went through a lot, both occupationally and personally, I felt that stepping away was the best thing at the time, but that it did not provide me the satisfaction in my life. Since then, I remarried, I have a child, I have a 6-month-old at home who's teething, which is why I didn't make it, which is a challenge, but my home life now is extremely stable. I'm very, very happy there. I'm very happy in New Haven. This is what I feel is my home, and I feel coming back here has been one of the most rewarding things. But I also have a clearer head, and I also have a better way of managing stress as a result of going through all those things.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I can respect the decisions you've made. And you have the degree in law.
Mhm.
My question still stands in reference to, where do you see yourself? Are you going to be utilizing and continuing to pursue the law degree, or are you going to be able, and I truly understand that you'd like the challenge and you have the experience with New Haven to really engage as CAO. I can respect that, and I know that our firemen and our chief know the city, the entire city. So that's a plus. So that's my question. Where do you perceive yourself in terms of your law background?
Yeah, so I appreciate that. I apologize, I didn't answer that. I will make a statement here on the record that I will not be practicing law ever. It is not my thing. I did go to law school. My goal was to work towards doing labor law. I was in the union at the time when I started in law school. And I was pretty far into the law school when I decided that being a lawyer was not what I wanted to do. I would say I use my law degree every single day, both while I was the assistant chief and as the chief administrative officer. I use my law degree constantly. I tell everyone who's on the fence, going and getting a law degree is the best liberal arts degree you could possibly get because it provides you a variety of education. I don't see myself leaving here. I've left once before. I made the conscious decision to come back. So I think that I do use my law degree. I think this will only help expound upon my education, but, I don't see myself practicing law or moving over to the Office of Corp Counsel. I can assure you of that.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to share something. The police department, we now have a chief that's been working, and we have the fire chief, Allison. And it would be great to have someone from New Haven that will work together so that we can continue to build our safety and improve our city all around. So that's why I ask these questions. Thank you, Madam
I
Chair.
appreciate that, thank you.
Any further questions? I have one. And I think both of these departments are not under your purview. But I do know some that, are under your purview. And the thing is, with Alder Hamilton had suggested, the constituents are frazzled. Because if they get someone in a department, or they don't get the response accurately. I had a constituent email me today, thank you, Alder Santana, for getting me to the right person to answer my question. Because the information that was given to the constituent was way off base. What can we do to make training for the people in those departments to give our constituents the correct answer? So that they don't have to do a runaround. I mean, in business, you go into a business, you have training. Here's the rules, here's the regulations. If you don't know a product, you ask. You just don't blurt anything you feel like that's saying. And so this is why constituents get angry and frustrated. So I'm just asking you, what can you do to help that? I know you said you talked about training. I'll give you one, transportation and parking. They give you the runaround. One person says one thing, another person says another. So let's get the story straight so that everybody is saying the same thing to our constituents when they call. Or they answer the call. LCI, no one answers. So I'm just asking.
Very fair question. I don't have either of those departments,
No, I know
thankfully.
you don't.
I just want to make that for the record. I think there's a couple of things. I think identifying them, having, when these things come before you, to make sure that myself or Eliza Halsey or Mike Piscatelli know that, so we can work through that. I would say routinely I get questions about TT&P, traffic, transportation, parking, and I ensure that they go to the appropriate high-level people, because if they're coming to me, obviously there's a major concern. I'm guessing that they're not coming to me on the first try, right? They're probably coming to me on the third try, and I try to engage the appropriate high-level person that can address their concern in that field. I think it is something we can work through with education on the website. We can make sure that the website's updated, and I've actually asked some of my departments to make sure that the websites are updated. For instance, one of the forms that was on the fire department section had to be updated when I first came back, and it was addressed relatively quickly. So I think a lot of our constituents go directly to the website first, and when they can't find the appropriate answer there, they begin to make phone calls. I mean, the vast majority of people avoid phone calls at all costs. They try to email or find it on the website. So if there's areas in our departments that can grow, I am by all means on board with ensuring that they answer questions. So if they're not, I appreciate knowing about that, because when I do receive any type of complaint, I immediately engage that department head and attempt to resolve it and prevent it from happening again. But also making sure that things on the website are accurate, things are put up in a timely manner. If, one of the things that we work on very closely in our office, Becky Montero is great with it, is making sure that Everbridges go out for anything that might be of concern, either citywide or in an isolated area. We had a protest the other night in the area of Orange and Trouble. We were setting up Everbridges pretty much right out of the gate to make sure that the people in that area were made aware of what was going on and that there was going to be issues. Same thing for some construction this morning that carried through. So we are very open and receptive to any feedback. And my biggest statement back to anybody that you speak to is please let them know we can't address what we don't know about. So if they can get that to us, we will make sure to address it.
Yeah, it benefits everyone if, the person who's answering the phone gives the right information to anyone who's calling, because they could be calling from another city, just asking the question. So I just want to make sure that we're doing everything possible, that our residents are getting the accurate information, and even as alders, that we get the accurate information too as well. And 9 times out of 10, we do receive the accurate information. It may not be what we want to hear.
Hopefully I'm not the bearer of bad news.
No, I'm not saying that, but,
I know.
and some things are out of our control, and some things are out of our grasp because of money situations. And, you can't pave the roads if you don't have enough money, and you can't do this if you don't have enough money. So there's a lot of things that can't be done right now, but they could get done in the pipeline, in the future. So I appreciate all of the things and the energy that you have to tackle all of this, and to ensure that everyone here has the opportunity to understand that you're willing and open to call you if you have any questions or concerns, and see if there's something that maybe you can address for them, to be able to get back to their constituents and in a proper manner and give them the information that they need.
Yeah, and I want you all to know, and I've reached out to, I think I've spoken to all of you at one point or another. My cell phone's available to all of you, and to anybody else who needs it. I mean, I make it known in my email signature. I make it known to anybody who needs it, so.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Any other questions?
No.
Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you all very much.
David Hartman, Assistant Chief.
We will now take public testimony in order that it is written. Assistant Chief
Shakira Samuel. And then after will be Mr. Hartman. And third, Assistant Chief Dan Cooley. Your name and address for the record, please, ma'am?
Good evening, boarders. Shakira Samuel, 952 Grand Avenue.
Okay, you may proceed.
I sit here proudly in support of the appointment of Justin McCarthy as the Chief Administrative Officer. Justin has built an impressive career serving the city of New Haven, and I've had the pleasure to work underneath his administration as Assistant Chief, where he demonstrated exceptional leadership, operational expertise, and a deep commitment to public safety. He has proven his managerial skills have been instrumental in improving the department's efficiency, fostering collaboration, and ensuring that our teams perform at the highest level. Justin understands that the strength of the fire department not only lies with just the internal operation, but the ability to build solid partnerships across the city's departments. He is an asset to the city, someone who leads with vision, integrity, and a genuine passion for service. I have no doubt under his leadership, we will continue to grow stronger, more united, and even more responsive to the needs of our community. And I can say with 100% certainty, sitting before you today, his professionalism, his leadership skills, his work ethic, and his passion for the city will speak for itself. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the committee? Thank you. David Hartman, next.
Thank you for serving us as assistant.
Assistant Chief Dan Coughlin is after.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Distinguished alders, thank you for the opportunity to support the confirmation of Mr. Justin McCarthy to the Office of Chief Administrator for our great city. I stand before you, actually I sit before you, I don't know if there'd be a podium. As a lifelong resident, a retired New Haven police officer, and current president of the Board of Fire Commissioners. I've known Justin for many years, both
May I introduce you?
Yes,
May I have your address, please?
I'm
for the
sorry,
record?
343 Alden Avenue. Thank you.
You may proceed.
I've known Justin for many years, both professionally and personally. Justin's professional career with the New Haven Fire Department was where we connected most often. The fire service is challenging. Each step up in rank is a success in and of itself, and Justin has made this climb many times, eventually landing himself in the second to top spot as our city's assistant fire chief in charge of administration. What's interesting to me, though it shouldn't be, is the understanding of once a firefighter, always a firefighter. Though not one word, this mantra, this internal message fuels people like Justin without being directed, help better and align those around him to the values, beliefs, and trajectory to where they are headed. I've seen Justin at many structure fires in our city. He's a leader with a steady and resolute calmness I've rarely seen in people serving in emergency management. He has demonstrated time and time again his ability to carry the weight of great responsibility, yet share equally the praise with those around him. For me, mainly when I was a city cop, I'd let people know exactly and very quickly how overtasked and burdened I already felt when asked to pile one more thing onto my plate. I could spot a request heading my way from across a room and glare that person down quickly and have them turn and run. Not Justin. It was almost irritating how he'd be asked to add something to his already busy schedule, and with a smile, nodded and assured you it'd be taken care of. There was never a chance for a good argument with him. His acceptance of added work was commonplace. On May 12, 2021, tragedy befell our city when a wicked house fire on Valley Street sent brave firefighters to the hospital and took the life of firefighter Ricardo Torres Jr. As Chief John Alston assuaged the anguish and pain felt by 300 plus members of our fire service, it was Justin Chief Alston trusted and relied upon to handle the difficult task of family liaison and funeral administrator. We on the board, along with Chief Alston, couldn't have been made prouder. He was the right person for this. He was the right person for everything he's been tasked with. Justin has been a New Haven person forever. He understands the challenges we face and the beautiful diversity that shape us as a community. He understands government, municipal service. He's an accomplished professor, non-acting lawyer, and administrator. We forgive him his minor transgression heading south to Greenwich in 2023 to take on the position of assistant fire chief, but we knew he'd be back. And now with the knowledge he's gained from another working environment, he's even more valuable to us. Through my police career and now as a commissioner on the fire side, I'm most fortunate to serve with some truly wonderful men and women. There are a few, however, who stand out because of something more, being excited each day at the prospect of keeping our community as safe as it can be, traits Justin exhibits daily in his work. He embodies these principles. He's the type who stands out. He's got the prerequisite ability and attention to detail you're no doubt looking for in a chief administrative officer. He knows no bias and appreciates diversity. He is moral and hardworking. I know how important confirming the right person for this job is, and I do not bestow so lightly such accolades. I'm here to support Justin's readiness to carry this torch for New Haven. He's someone whose work ethic is as solid as can be. It's a pleasure to know him and have him as a friend. he has my most enthusiastic endorsement, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
so much.
Any questions?
I have one.
Yes, Alderman.
Yes, I'm president of the fire commission, you said, correct?
Yes.
So if Mr. McCarthy renders a legal opinion or a reference to a legal opinion in the meeting, you'll report back to us, correct?
Most.
You could leave that with the staff person.
Yes, with Misty. I didn't know we had a comedian in David Hartman.
Good evening, Alders. Assistant Chief Dan Coughlin, Chief of Operations for the New Haven Fire Department. Start out by apologizing for my penmanship because I watched you guys here try to read my last name.
Your address.
75 Warren Street, New Haven.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of my friend and colleague, Justin McCarthy. I'll speak to you briefly, as I know, I'll speak to you tonight briefly, but I'll speak to you as the Assistant Chief and a lifelong New Havener. I met Justin when he was fresh out of the academy. When rookies graduate, there's always standouts. The vast majority of them blind out into the firehouses and they become part of the New Haven Fire Department, but there's always those standouts. And Justin was one of them. What stuck out for me is qualities that he still possesses. A positive attitude, humble, and an open mind. For me, he was a standout because he simply wanted to do right and serve the citizens of New Haven. Now, I could go on and on at this time about what a firefighter he was, but I'm going to move on to him as a lieutenant. He ran a rock-solid crew, and that's important in our ranks. It's a display of leadership. He was fair, firm leader, and many times took on difficult tasks and difficult people with professionalism and impeccable leadership skills. He never judged people off of rumors. His response to all the negative talk as people get around the table is, I'll let you know, which meant he was going to figure it out for himself. So, and that's a quality I believe is invaluable. Justin helped navigate us through COVID, handling planning and supply for the pandemic. And this is where I believe he caught Chief Alston's eye. He was tasked with something that was really far beyond his rank. He was detailed to the training school. Something happened that none of us ever thought would happen, and he handled it just unbelievably. At that time, I believe that Chief Alston knew Justin was destined for more, and eventually he ended up as our assistant chief. As assistant chief, he really began to shine. I believe at this time, he started to notice that he thrives on challenges. Justin likes to be challenged. And as Commissioner Harper said, you throw something else on his plate, he kind of eats it up. You know, it's I think it's a bragging right for him to accomplish a lot. So that'll be good, and that'll be good in our favor as taxpayers. He was liked and well respected by the men and women of the department. Fair, consistent, and accessible was the key to his success. He built a strong relationship with the other city departments, the unions, and regional partners. And I'll say this, the departments that he built relationships with, he'll now be tasked to oversee. And having a good, consistent, strong relationship with labor unions in the city of New Haven is extremely important. And he was able to do that unbelievably. He helped lead the department through 2 firefighters who lost their lives off the job and 1 devastating loss of Ricardo Torres. A rock for the family, the department, and the city. And as a friend, I watched him put everyone before himself. I'm certain he had his moments behind the scene, but for the firefighters, he was an unwavering rock. The side I want to close with is the side that not everybody sees. Justin McCarthy, the father, husband, and friend. The attributes that he displays in these areas, as we all know, they will carry over to how you conduct your business. Who you are as a human being is who you are, and that carries over to everything you do. He's a man that loves his family, and he's a loyal and true friend. Over the last 17 years, I've had him by my side through highs, such as the birth of my son, and he was by my side during a low, the loss of my father. Justin carried my father, along with 5 other friends. There was never a moment he wasn't there for me. I also had the opportunity to see his charitable side. We were part of 2 organizations that had many food drives, clothing drives, countless other charitable works. And this is stuff he did just because that's who he is. And in closing, I just want to say that I cannot recommend highly enough for this critical position in the city that I love. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you.
Yes.
Joshua, answer.
Yes.
Next person on our list, Joshua.
Good evening, Order.
Mhm.
Joshua Antrim, 461 Dixwell Avenue, New Haven. My name is Joshua Antrim. I am the president of the New Haven Firebirds, and I'm a 7-year member of the New Haven Fire Department. I still know him as Chief McCarthy because that's how he left us, so that's what I'm most comfortable with. Chief McCarthy guided us through a tragedy, and I'm just going to speak personally. May 12th, 2021, I was actually involved in a fire on Valley Street, and Chief McCarthy was a steady hand. He was a steady hand, but even more importantly, he was an available hand. He reached out to me personally multiple times. I'm at his cell phone, at the firehouse, day of the funeral, at the fire site. And I think that's just a testament of his character. His character is steady, calm, like a captain of a ship. And I think as a lifelong city resident, I don't think there's anyone suited better for the job. So I'm just here for his support and here to let him know that I appreciate everything he's done and I hope to work with him in the future. Thank you for your time.
Any questions? Thank you.
Next on our list, Chief Carl Jacobson.
Good evening, Alders. Thank you for your time. I wanted to speak on behalf of Justin McCarthy.
Your address for the.
15 Westerly Road, New Haven, Connecticut. Sorry, I should know better, right?
That's okay. We all forget.
We knew each other when he was a fireman and I was a sergeant. And I watched him go through the ranks as I went through the ranks. He went through the ranks of the fire department. I really got to know him as an assistant chief, and I had just become an assistant chief around the same time. And as everyone's echoed, I saw how he helped the department get through the death of firefighter Torres, which is immensely difficult to do. And you see who the true leaders are in a fire department or a police department or anywhere when you experience death, especially in the line of duty, but even any kind of death. To uplift your members, be positive, help the department move forward. We've experienced our own deaths and it's extremely difficult, but that's probably where I first saw how important and valuable Justin McCarthy was. I gotta be honest, when he left, I was disappointed, just because I wanted him to be here. I thought New Haven needed him. I saw him in between when he was at Greenwich and we spoke a few times and I remember him saying, oh, it's okay. And I realized that that wasn't really the job for him, that New Haven was the place for him. And some of us have that drive that it's been mentioned about, Justin, that you can't work in an environment that doesn't need you, doesn't need your full attention. And New Haven's definitely that. When he did return as the CAO, I'm going to be honest, I was a little skeptical to have a fireside CAO, right? But he's shown me again and again, the valuable efforts of being a team. We're a team in the city government. We really are. And it's important because whether Chief Lawson's at a fire scene or I'm at a protest, we need backup. We need backup from our city government. And we get it from the mayor. The mayor attends everything and backs us up, but also from his people, which we always get. And I noticed that right away from the beginning, I think he said he's been off about 100 days. In the acting role, right away he showed up and he was attentive and he cared. And even my officers saw that and were like, oh, that's the guy that used to be the fire chief, he's going to be the CAO. But people notice that, leadership, they talk about it being very difficult. Working in government can be very difficult. But there's one thing that shows a good leader and a good person working in government, and that's they show up at everything. and they care, and they show you that they care. Like the examples you were given about your constituents calling and just not feeling like the person on the other end of the phone cares, right? And if that's the biggest thing we can do before we leave here, that's what we're gonna do. So people feel that the city government here cares about them. And I know Justin does. And he's been showing up every day. I can't even explain to you how supported I felt as the chief of police, through Justin's leadership and Justin working as a team. We really do have a good team. Justin's part of that team, and I'm hoping that you guys will help us continue to have that team. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Esteban Vera next, and after that will be Mr. Darrell Brooks.
Rebecca Bombero, 122 West Rock Avenue, New Haven, Connecticut. I am the Deputy Chief Administrative Officer. Like you, I have had the pleasure of working with many CAOs. Very excited to get to work with Justin McCarthy again. Previously, as a Deputy CAO and Acting CAO, I was one of his supervisors. Found him extremely hardworking, diligent, and a real problem solver. Always was, I saw. As a subordinate, it is a pleasure to work for him. He is a team builder. He lifts all of our department heads who really have risen and have exceeded expectations and performance. They're growing through his coaching. He is a team builder. You know, we can bring different departments together in joint meetings to solve problems together. He's not playing favorites. I don't want any of you to think just because he's from the fire department they get special treatment. He really holds everybody accountable, but in a fair and measured way. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your support with the cleanup.
Yes.
Good afternoon, or good evening, I should say.
Good evening.
Alders, my name is Darrell Brooks. I live at 170 Stevenson Road, New Haven, Connecticut. I'm a lifelong resident of the city of New Haven. Many of you all know me. I've been involved in New Haven politics, activism, NAACP, 20 plus years of working in the fire service. And I've worked with Justin. So I'm not going to pile on because he has everybody in the room is supporting Justin being on the as CL. But I will tell you guys, I worked with Justin at Whitney Avenue, and we were a tight-knit family. And when you work in the firehouse and you're working with men and women in the firehouse, you become bonded like family. Justin and I, he was a rookie coming in on Squad 1. Of course, Squad 1 and Engine 8, we had our battles and our beefs, and by that I mean it's more fun, kind of. And so we really enjoyed working together. We would sit down and oftentimes talk politics. We would talk union activities, and so we had our debates about. And so I think I might have been the one that encouraged him to go to school, become a lawyer, well, maybe as Commissioner said, a non-acting lawyer, a non-participating lawyer. So, but Justin has been really instrumental in terms of building relationships in this city. And so I think the city would do well with having him as deputy mayor. And that's essentially what this is deputy mayor. He certainly has my full support. Watching him over the years and participating in the city, he has been a real strong advocate for building relationships and getting to know people. You really don't know somebody. I remember someone said to me, when people, and I'm about to mess up this quote, but don't tell me you care until you can show me how much you care. And that's one thing that Justin does well, is he listens, and that's important. No matter what, you can have all the vision to move an organization forward, but if you don't have the ability to listen and to be a servant leader then all of your qualities mean nothing. You could have some of the best education, you could come from the best walk of life, you could have all of the accolades of men and women, but if you cannot listen to the least of us, then your leadership means nothing to those of us who are in the trenches. And I can say one thing, that Justin knows how to listen, and that I respect the most. We didn't always agree. We did not always agree. But one thing I could tell you, out of everybody because the Firebirds, I was a member, a long time member of the Firebirds, and you can go back about 15, 20 years, and there was some controversial stuff in the paper between the Firebirds and our rallying against the department. But one thing I can say, because everybody did not agree with us, but Justin would sit down at the table, sit back, and genuinely listen to understand. That I respect immensely about him. And I think he would be I think we would do ourselves a disservice not to have a CAO like Justin, who has the ability to listen, whether he agrees or disagrees, but the ability to listen, to learn, and to understand. So thank you for your time. I will answer any questions if you have.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure seeing you.
Next, Joseph, I don't know if I'm, might be butchering the last name.
Vitale.
Vitale, okay. Come on up, Mr. Vitale. And after that will be Max Webster.
You're not afraid of us, are you?
No, why?
No, okay.
I couldn't,
No, I'll explain it later on.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't
I have a
figure out.
minor medical issue.
Oh.
That's okay.
Joseph Vitale, 378 Townsend Avenue. I come before you tonight to offer my support to Justin McCarthy as he appears before you for confirmation as the CAO of the City of New Haven. Chief McCarthy was part of a small group, some of which were in the chambers tonight, who I relied on for advice and guidance when I accepted the PSAP director's position in May of 2022. So I'm coming up on my third year. At the time, he was the assistant chief of the New Haven Fire Department. Now, as one of his direct reports, I again rely on his sound judgment and guidance. Mr. McCarthy is a fair but firm supervisor who challenges me on a daily basis, not only to be the best that I can be, but most importantly, he provides me with a clear message on what the expectations are from his office, the office of the mayor, the board of alders, and most importantly, the citizens of the city of New Haven whom we serve. It is my personal opinion that Mr. McCarthy possesses the unique background, both in his education and professional career, from labor law to equipment to vehicles and everything else in between, which has provided him with the knowledge to manage every department that reports to his office now. I was handed my first badge 40 years ago and have worked with many knowledgeable and hardworking chiefs. I do mean that. I place Mr. McCarthy at the very top of that list. With that, I thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak here in support of CAO Justin McCarthy.
Thank you. Any further questions? Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you.
Good evening. Hi, my name is Max Webster. I'm the Parks Director for the City of New Haven. I live at 48 Hugo Street. Yes, in your ward, Alder. I'm a little bit different than the other folks who have been speaking on behalf of Justin McCarthy tonight, in that Justin and I really just met a few months ago. And when he stepped into this role, myself being relatively new in this role myself, And, the parks world is something that is new for Justin. And so it's been a little bit of fun just getting Justin onboarded with some of the weird and various different things that we deal with in parks, which can be very varied, from a lot of different kinds of circumstances that you can run across in a public space at any given time. And to have somebody who's there that you can rely on to support you, and when you call and you get the answer that is, I'm on it, without too much question about it, it really gives you a lot of confidence to execute on the plan and the vision. And I think that that's a really important thing for where we are as a department right now. We are still in that transitional phase of trying to get ourselves stood back up again as an independent department again. We really are in a new visioning phase for what we want to do as a parks department, how we want to use parks in the city of New Haven to promote the public good. And we can't do that work alone. That work requires a lot of cooperations and partnerships to be successful. We face a lot of different collective action problems in trying to address the work that we do. And if we try to go alone in doing that, we're not going to be successful. And so, Justin is one of those folks who is really good at getting folks together in a room, building successful teams, bringing partnerships together. And that's something that I've seen in my short time here. Justin to really execute on getting folks together in a room to solve a problem, which is a skill set that is often overlooked. The ability to just get folks together talking about something is really important. And something that can't be stressed enough. So just, in terms of helping us address, the day-to-day budgetary constraints, getting new equipment, all of that stuff, the way that Justin has jumped in to help us on a lot of that stuff really is invaluable in terms of the support that he's given. Lastly, I just want to say, I'm the son of a firefighter, brother of a police officer. So I think oftentimes about, who would they want to be working for? And I think Justin is one of those people. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you. I would like to read into the record a letter from the Firebird Society of Greater New Haven from Ernest M. Jones, Junior Past President. I'm writing to express my full support for Justin McCarthy and his candidacy for the position of Chief Administrative Officer. I had the privilege of working closely with Mr. McCarthy for over a decade, bringing shift mates into the fire department and continuing through the numerous collaborative efforts to improve and grow our organization. During our time as shipmates at Edgy 10 in Fairhaven, Mr. McCarthy consistently demonstrated a remarkable commitment to service, leadership, and teamwork. Throughout my probational firefighter year, Mr. McCarthy was instrumental in the growth and adjustment to myself and others within the fire services. Mr. McCarthy has shown an unwavering commitment to education and advancement throughout his life, whether responding to emergency calls or managing day-to-day operations. He brought a calm, decisive presence and a sense of pride of doing what's best for the city of New Haven and the community we serve. Over the years, Mr. McCarthy was promoted within the New Haven Fire Department and ultimately achieving the rank of Assistant Chief, which he served with distinction. As an officer of the New Haven Fire Department and President of the Firebird Society, we've partnered on several key projects that have been lasting impact on the department's growth and effectiveness. This includes, but not limited to, strategic planning and initiatives, operational improvements, community outreach. Mr. McCarthy has proven to be not only a reliable teammate, but also a forward-thinking leader with a strong vision and ability to execute it. Our professional relationship has been built on mutual respect, shared values, and a joint commitment to continuous improvement. These are qualities that I believe are essential in the role of the Chief Administrative Officer. I have no doubt that Justin's leadership, integrity, and deep understanding of both the operational and administrative aspects of the fire service make him an outstanding candidate for this role. He will bring the same passion, strategic insight, and collaborative spirit that has defined his career. I apologize. If you would like further to discuss regarding Mr. McCarthy, I will be available. Thank you. And that's submitted to us. Do anyone in the audience that would like to testify on behalf of Mr. McCarthy? Is there anyone in the audience that would like to testify? Is there anyone in the office that would like to testify on any of the candidates this evening? Seeing none? Alder Hamilton?
I move we close the public.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion on that? Seeing none? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter carries. Yeah.
Chair Santana, I move item 0114, the appointment of Douglas Coffin to the Development Commission. Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Yes.
Moving.
Yeah. All in favor, it's been moved in second. Discussion. No discussion? Nothing? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries.
Item number 2.
It's not required to attend. Yeah.
Item number.
We'll go
Oh,
on number 2.
Number 2?
No, we'll go back on number 2. We can move number 4 right now. Number 4 is the same as number 2. So we can go on, address those, not required to attend now.
So, item LM 2025-0112, which is Larry Stewart. And item 2025-0111 are both reappointments, and we're not required to be here tonight, and we will move them forward favorably.
Second. Moved in second. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? The motion carries. Yeah, no, let's do that last. This one, so, yeah, because I should attend. Yeah. Just move it.
LM 2025-0113. Are we moving?
Yes.
I move in.
This is the, person, Joy Gary. Can I have a second?
that's right. Second.
They've moved in second. Discussion.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've known Ms. Gary for quite some time. She works very diligently as the assistant state attorney.
Mhm.
Understanding that her caseload got swamped last year with the number of cases, it's her job to prepare many of the cases and warrants that have been issued by the courts. In a very honest discussion with her about her role as a city plan commissioner and the importance of said role, she's pretty much told me that she will do better. I'd like to give her that opportunity.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Alder Rodriguez.
I also am in support of this appointment. The attorney did share in her most current application for this commission as of February 2025, that she's interested in continuing her service on the city plan because she wants to continue to serve New Haven communities. And she has indicated here clearly that she is going to make sure that she is in attendance to the meetings. It says, do you have any time commitments that would prevent you from participating? And she's clearly indicated no. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any further questions?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes, Alder Hubbard.
I am actually conflicted because, the question that you asked her, she really never did answer that question. So that concerns me on what is going to change. I understand that she is an attorney, so that does bring up a little conflict with your scheduling and being overwhelmed. So that was my only two concerns.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Any further discussion?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
While I understand my colleague's concern, however, in your documentation, official to the city of New Haven, she's clearly indicating that she's going to make herself available to meetings. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I recognize, and I appreciate everyone's conversations, and I recognize that she did put it in her application. However, I specifically asked her the question and she couldn't answer it. I asked again in a different way and she didn't answer it, so I am conflicted as well, because we cannot have people who sit on city plan commission not come to the meetings because they're overwhelmed at another position. It's very critical role. And so I'm of the opinion that we can suggest her appointment again if the committee decides that it would be a favorable recommendation. But I do have some reservations as well.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I can understand your reservation and that she did not directly outright make her response clear to us, but she did indicate, in all fairness, that of 18 meetings, she has attended 11, and she has also attended a number of special meetings that require work. And that is a very significant role that one must consider when we are working in commissions and in the work that these commissions deliver. She has indicated in writing and as an attorney, in all fairness, that she will make herself available to meetings. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
I just still stand convicted.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? I will approve it, not an extension, but I will approve it, and we'll see what happens in 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
The motion carries.
Moving along, Madam Chair, I move item LM 2025-0216. The appointment of Alder Adam Marchand to the Commission on Pilot and Revenue Lobbying.
Your second?
Second.
Moved in second, discussion. Yes, Alder Hamilton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Alder Marchand is one of our most loyal and hardworking soldiers, and I think he's very qualified, and he has my full support.
Any further discussion?
I too agree that Alder Marchand is probably the qualified Board of Alder to be on this committee. I only hope that we can be supporting and getting this committee moving forward in some way or fashion so that he is not spinning his wheels trying to get it done. If we can be supportive in any way, let it so be noted.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Alder Rodriguez.
Understanding those who sit on this committee, Yale University, Hospital Center Rayfields, Yale New Haven Hospital, New Haven, Greater New Haven Chambers, United Way. It is important that we and others, it is important that we as part of member of the Board of Alders, have someone just as competitive to be able to go into these types of discussions in the best interest of revenue. And it's also significant to note that Mr. Marchand is the chair of the city's finance committee of the Board of Alders. And that in itself, knowing that and actually being a part of knowing that he knows numbers well, and he knows how to work with numbers, and he knows how to communicate about numbers, I think he's going to be a very good add to that commission. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any further discussion?
Yes, I second that. Alderman Shawn is very diligent in the work that he does. He's very informative and sincere. And he's just all around an asset, I would say, to have on the committee.
Thank you. Any further discussion? I would like to say I've known Adam 13 and a half years that I've been around. I have known him to wear different hats, and whatever hat he does commit to, he gives 100% and I'd say 30% sometimes. He gives up vacation time to do it too. And that's very notable and honorable and commendable. All of those things, I know it takes a lot to do that, and we certainly hope that this new hat will give him the opportunity to shine as well with that one. So with that, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Okay, the motion passes. Okay.
Do something.
You can just, if you want to have discussion, you can move it. If you don't want to, you can just go ahead and go to adjournment.
Okay. No discussion. All right, I move that we adjourn.
Oh, no, we have to motion. We have to move it.
That's the one I was talking about. Only if you want to have discussion.
Discharge it.
We're going to discharge it to committee. All right, the last item, LM 2025-0180, Alder Hamilton.
That item will stay,
Discharge.
will be discharged.
To the full board.
To the full board at our next meeting.
Yes.
And it will be taken up for a vote at that time.
Yes. There would be no discussion
At this time.
at this time. Thank you. I believe the reason is time.
Yeah,
The time constraint.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we pass it here, it'll have to go for first and second reading. So we don't want to extend that time limit that we have. So we want to make sure we're appointed in fair amount of time. So that's the reason why we're not having a discussion. But everything that's off the record is very notable, and we appreciate everything that you've said this evening. And with that, I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Don't move.
Okay.
Discussion.
No discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So adjourned.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
And
Don't
it's
forget,
full of that.
Mr.
Yes. I love
We
it
got
too.
pizza.
Oh, yeah.
We got pizza too.
Thank you for agreeing to give me more work. I appreciate it.
No, absolutely. I thought
Just
you
don't
wanted
pour
it.
me.
Wait.
I want you up there.
I'd love to sit in one of these committee meetings when they have it.
I want you up there with all those.
I didn't mean to say that we worked together for all these years at Yale, but.
Any of you guys, there's pizza in the back if you're hungry, please get some.
It was miserable.